Hey, my Y&R fans, Billy finally confessed the truth. We got Elena making a request of Nate. Noah tells Audra to stay away. And Tucker gets to meet with his wild beauty, Ashley. Welcome back to CBS Soap Dish Recap, where we recap everything CBS soaps, both the Young and the Restless and the Bold and the Beautiful. This is your Young and the Restless recap for October 10th. So, without any other further ado, let's go ahead and unpack this drama. So we start off over at the Abbott Mansion, and guess who sachets through the door a day late and $1 short of the vow renewal? Ashley. And Jack is complaining about her not answering her messages. Now she figured that he could have just told her whatever it is in person and asked, what happened? Jack was like, look, brace yourself. Tucker McCall is back in town. Ashley jaw drops. Now, after learning what he did at the vow renewal, Ashley thought this whole thing was outrageous and over the top even for him. Now, Jack was warning her that, I think he's planning to stick around for a while. And Ashley thinks, well, that makes sense given that he's a granddad now. Now, Jack explains, well, the only person he asked about was you. And he seems convinced that you want to hear what he has to say. Now, I thought these two ladies worked for Marchetti, not Jabot, but they're always over at Jabot. So we're over there, and Phyllis comes across Diane and was asking her about the pictures that she took at the vow renewal. And Diane was like, well, they turned out great. Okay. And then the conversation turns to Tucker vulgar display, and Phyllis talks about him giving the kids the Bentley. I can't figure it out. Can you? Now, Diane think it's obvious why he chose that, because John Abbott had a Bentley, so he was trying to score some points with the Abbott family. Phyllis still think it's weird to give a car like this to two young kids. Now, Diane talking about, well, I never driven one. And Phyllis was like, well, ask the kids if you can slip in and take a drive. Diane isn't after their car or money. And this is when she was like, why are you asking me that? What are you implying? Phyllis was like, whoa, 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 I'm sorry. I offended you. And Diane was like, okay, I'm sorry. I overreacted. Then she walks off. Phyllis is whispering, liar, liar, liar. And she and Nikki claims that they're going to get to the bottom of this and blow everything up. It's probably going to blow up in y'all face, Phyllis. So, speaking of Miss Newman, she's over at Society, and Tucker comes in and approaches her. And then she goes on and kind of tells him about him making a spectacle of himself over at the Abbott Mansion. Now, he's surprised when she decided to ask him to join her at their table. Now, they go back and forth about his meeting with Victor, and Nikki says that she'd like to share something of her own. Now, she told him and put him on notice that if he's planning to put any roots down in Genoa City again, that there's something that he needs to know. When it came to Ashland Locke crossing their family, they dealt with him. I don't think you need to say that in public. Now, in fact, had he left them alone, he might have would have been alive today. Again, don't say that in public. There's no place for Genoa City for people who want to do harm to the respectable families. Really, Nikki? Just then, Diane walks in, and Tucker called her over. I'm like, oh boy, here we go. And Diane also want to know if they want her to referee. Now, Tucker goes on to say about him and Diane both being back in town from the dead, and kind of goes and recount this whole thing being pulling from a burning car in Monte Carlo. Nikki kind of scoffed at that, especially Diane. Diane faked her death? Nah, she didn't do that. Diane defended herself once again, and Tucker noted that, hey, she made a lot of inroads since she returned. And then Nikki was like, wait a minute. You barely been back 2 days. How would you even know that? And they were looking crazy because I know Diane thought he just got caught up. Let's swing over to Crimson Lights. Audra sees Noah, her ex, walk in and comes up to him and say, hello. And she remember how he takes his coffee and congratulates him on his new club. Now he asked her, how's work going? And she was like, it's good. And he also asked how long is she staying. Now Audra was like, well, I'm going to stay until this job is done and then decide how worth it is for her to stick around for a while. And she thinks Noah is uncomfortable around her and apologized for the way things fell apart for them back in London. Now, she also remarked on his cute little friend, and Noah came and like, look, don't go there with my girl. Noah defended Allie. Now, Audra thinks, oh, that sounds like you in love. Now, Noah asked to keep her distance and let him enjoy the happiness that he's found. So, yeah, I don't know if she's going to stick around with him or decide to move on with somebody else. And if you haven't checked out my video from yesterday, I say move over to Adam. So let's talk about a side order of espionage and insider trading because we're over at Chancellor Park. Now, Victoria is questioning Nate about Audra Charles. She needs in-depth knowledge of what she's doing for the company. Now, Nate has been, gaining her trust, but she warns the girl is sharp. Now, Victoria knows that she knows her stuff, but likes to have a little bit of fun off the clock. And she's glad she's a known entity, unlike Tucker McCall, because if anybody can throw a wrench into their plans, it's him. Now, Nate goes on that Lily told him that Devon was taken off guard by his father's arrival. So he likely hadn't told him about the IPO. Now, Victoria feels that they need to assume that he does know so they're not taken off guard if he does decide to make a move. So what she decided to do is sit down with Tucker and kind of suss out his plans. Nate is in awe of Victoria's business acumen. And I'm like, yeah, okay. You need to watch yourself, Nate. Over at Chancellor Winters, Billy tells Lily and Devon that he's been digging around in Tucker's recent activities. And he's not happy about what he's found. Now, Tucker has been on this whole selling spree to increase his cash reserves. Devon realized that's pretty convenient timing since they're about to go public. And he feels we need to keep a close eye on this man. So then Nate arrives and Lily says, oh, we just waiting on Audra. Now, all of a sudden, Devon seems so surprised that she didn't show up with Nate and suggests that his cousin spent free time trying to make things right with Elena. Now, Audra arrives and Lily announced that it's come to their attention that someone is taking advantage of the stock offering with an eye of taking controlling interest of the company. Now, Audra's like, is this person got a name? It's Tucker McCall, Devon's father, she said. Now, Lily warns he is capable of anything, and Devon proposes putting the IPO on hold, but Lily was like, I don't know about that. Nate, however, suggests they go public sooner than expected, and Devon is still not comfortable with that situation, but feels, hey, if it can work, let's do it. Now, after the meeting was over, Devon all of a sudden invites Audra to join him at Crimson Lights. Lily asks Billy to stay on top of the whole Tucker thing and whether there's any connection with the IPO. Billy was like, yeah, sure. Lily was like, do you really want to do this? I feel like you're disinterested. And he was like, I'm doing my job. Lily knows, but there's something fundamentally wrong here, and he's doing what she wants him to do rather than him following his own wanting to do it. Now, Lily presses him to be honest, and Billy was like, okay, I think you're right. He's trying to be a right-hand man, but it's not working. And it's getting pretty tough to try and fit into this world and have a sense of fulfillment. And Lily was like, well, what do you think your path is? And Billy was like, I wish to God I even knew. Lily, that's what you get for pushing this man into a job when you got the job and he already told you he wasn't sure. But now we're down the road and now he don't even want to be there. Now we're back over at the Abbott mansion, and Ashley cannot understand why Jack is so adamant about Tucker leaving town. Jack is appreciative, though, that he sold the family business back to him, but he didn't like the way he treated Ashley, which was terribly. Now, Ashley recalled that he cheated on her with both Diane and Harmony, and she worked hard to overcome the pain and the loss of all of it. Whatever she felt for him burned out a long time ago. There's nothing left. Now, Jack is surprised when she decides that she should see him. Ashley was like, I can handle him. And she knows he's up to something and thinks that there's a connection between him and Diane, who just came back too. Now, Jack reminded her, look, they can't even stand each other. Ashley thinks stranger things has happened than adversaries working together. Yeah, you, Nikki, and Phyllis, right? And then she goes on, the perfect person to find out his agenda is me. And Jack was like, well, good luck with that. Now, back over to this awkward conversation at Society. Tucker is telling Nikki he assumed Diane had made inroads with the Abbotts, or she wouldn't even been at the ceremony. Now, he thinks Diane could give him some tips, but Diane was like, I ain't got no time for that. Nikki went on that they might bond over all kind of shady things if you guys do. So Victoria is over at Crimson Lights when she receive and take a call from Nate, who warns her that everyone is on high alert about Tucker McCall and they won't see her coming. Now, he suggested to the board that they go public sooner, so she needs to be ready. And Victoria thanked him for keeping her posted on the news. At the park, though, after the private conversation in public, Nate disconnects, turn around, and see Elena, who overheard the end of the conversation. Now, he knows what she's going to say, and Elena was like, no, you don't, hear me out. Now, she don't want him to stop this because of her or because of them. She wants him to stop it for himself because it could hurt him too. The Newmans always put family first, absolutely, and no one breaks into that inner circle. Nate, I trust Victoria. Elena is like, if her needs change after she gets what she wants from you, she could let you go. Then where will you be after betraying your cousins? Is it really worth the potential downside? And yeah, he need to think about that. Now, over at Crimson Lights, Devon and Audra sit on the patio, and he explained he wanted to get to know her outside of the office the way Nate has been able to. And Audra was like, okay, what are you talking about? She sensed that he's concerned about something and asked if there's a problem between him and Nate. And he tried to play it off, but she was like, look, I can read people, so I know what's up, so don't try to play me. So Phyllis pops into Jack's office to give an update on business, and he's distracted and asks her, just send me an email. Now she was like, what's wrong with you? Or is it about somebody? Tucker? Now Jack went on that Ashley is back and decided to meet with him. He thinks she's making a terrible mistake. And Phyllis was like, well, if he has a plot brewing, she can probably sniff it out. Now, Jack was like, well, he probably is up to something, all right, but it just bugs him that he thinks that he can win Ashley back. She doesn't have time for his asinine games. And Phyllis was like, yeah, well, I'm always hanging on to the hope of forgiveness as possible, too. Yeah, just for you, but nobody else in that town. Now, over at Society, Diane is like, I'm not going to continue defending myself to you, Nikki, and leave with her takeout. And then just then, we also seen Tucker get a text from none other than Ashley saying that she's home if he wants to meet. And of course, you know, Tucker took off like lightning. And finally, over at the Abbott mansion, Ashley opened the door to Tucker, who thanked her for agreeing to meet with him. Now, he tells her she looks beautiful and hasn't changed a bit. I miss you. I dreamt of this day for a long time. And Ashley was like, look, let's just get to it. I want to know why you're really here. So what is he going to have to say to Ashley? We got to stick around and find out, because it's not over. Victor is investigating Tucker's return. And also Kyle is suspicious of his mom. So stay tuned for that. And we'll have to see how it all unfolds. Okay, so there you have it, your Young and the Restless recap for Monday, October 10th, 2022. If you haven't checked out the bold and the beautiful recap also for today, it has been uploaded to the channel. And until the next video, like, comment, and subscribe, and we will see you soon. Bye.